This program brought to you by the all-new Hyundai Santa Fe all-wheel drive. The only place to go, Vaughan, the automotive superstore. Mitre 10, all the help you need. Valentine's finest Scotch whisky. The new full HD Bravia LCD TV from Sony. And Hungry Jack's. The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
Aussie Stadium, the scoreline favoured the champions.
Coventry's nowhere, it's gone in. Sydney FC take the lead in the minor semi-final. Delightful ball in from Corrigan. It's 2-0 Sydney FC.
But some Milton magic kept Newcastle in the hunt.
And who else but Milton Rodriguez?
I think it's even. I think it's 50-50.
We won the game and we're still in a good position to go up there and get through.
Tonight, it's the Jets' turn to ignite the home faithful.
I would imagine that come finals time, there'll be standing room only. Not too many teams will enjoy coming to play us at Energy Australia like not too many teams fancy going to play Melbourne down at the Telstra game.
Sudden death football has arrived. The winners live to see another day. For the losers, it's curtains.
You can throw the form book completely out the window, I think, and it all comes down to, I think, the players being able to step up, who can step up and who can't.
Well, Newcastle's football history is rich and deep. It's a culture that has spawned folklore footballers Reggie Date, Craig Johnston, Ray Bartz. The Jets of 2007 are looking to add their own chapter to that history. Well, Sydney FC are made of very stern stuff, a team of champions defending their champions title. Well, hello and welcome to Energy Australia Stadium. It's the second leg of the minor semi-final. Sydney FC have travelled up the F3 and will take on the home team, Newcastle Jets. And joining me, as he usually does, is Fox Sports football commentator Robbie Slater. It's going to be another big one tonight, Rob.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a massive game. Of course, the road ends for one of these two teams here tonight. It's been an amazing week of football, really. The Sydney FC, another drama coming out with them suing Dwight Yorke, or is Dwight Yorke suing them? That's taken their mind off the game somewhat. Hopefully for them, it won't spoil their preparation for this game. But a wonderful game at Aussie Stadium last week. 2-1 to Sydney. Of course, they have the advantage. But if they sit back, I think that could play into Newcastle's hands. It really is 50-50. And just can't wait for the action to start.
Well, it's been an enormously good day here in Newcastle. A beautiful evening. The atmosphere pitchside must be very special indeed. Well, standing by, pitchside is Simon Hill.
Thanks very much, guys. Yeah, the atmosphere is electric down here. Of course, 26,000 are expected tonight, an absolute full house. 24,000 tickets pre-sold. A lot have travelled up from the south, from Sydney as well, to give their team in blue backing. Should be a wonderful night's entertainment. I'll tell you what, we came here earlier on this season. There's a crowd of, I think, about 4,000 or 5,000 against the Queensland Roar. But one local actually said to me, well, you know, this isn't really a football town. It belongs almost exclusively to the Knights Rugby League team. Well, I think that myth has been pretty much dispelled this evening with this full house. All the momentum, you'd have to say, is probably with the Jets at the moment after that strong second half showing at Aussie Stadium, and they've got no injuries either. The big question mark is whether Gary Van Egmond will start with Milton Rodriguez. My information, not confirmed, is that he will. So far as Sydney FC concerned, well, of course, another week of making headlines off the park. Nikolai Topor-Stanley, though, had a late fitness test on a heel injury, and he will play. Sydney FC, you could almost nickname FC Hollywood, pretty much the way that Bayern Munich were a few years ago, but Sydney FC will point to Bayern Munich's trophy cabinet and say that's going to be ours too at the end of the season. We shall see what happens with the team in sky blue. Now, talking of the team in sky blue, Uruguay that is, they've been lined up to play a friendly against Australia, and the state premier of New South Wales, Maurice Yema, was the man who made that announcement this afternoon. Congratulations on that, Mr. Yema. That's a fantastic achievement.
Oh, it is, and we're very excited. June 2 of this year, we get to rematch against Uruguay, and we're starting to develop a great rivalry with Uruguay. Of course, it dates back to 1974, and of course, no Australian could ever forget October 2005 when we finally qualified. Ended 32 years of disappointment by beating Uruguay.
Now, you've also today announced that you're putting some money into the redevelopment work that's going to take place at this very stadium, Energy Australia. What's all that about?
Yes, it's the Western Grandstand. We rebuilt the Eastern Grandstand, that magnificent stand that you can see there, the 32 million, and today we're providing $1 million loan, interest-free, to the Trust to start work on the redevelopment of the Western Grandstand to provide upgraded facilities for the players and the coaches.
Final question, Mr. Yema, and this is the important one. You're the state premier. Who are you going for tonight, Newcastle or Sydney?
I can't lose tonight because New South Wales will win.
Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Back to you guys.
He's sitting on the fence.
He certainly is.
Like
But
me.
good news on the stadium redevelopment plans, and a lot more, hopefully, where that's coming from. Well, Friday night, that's tonight, we're at Energy Australia Stadium. The major semi-final second leg, however, is Sunday evening at Telstra Dome. There's going to be a massive crowd gathering for that one as well. Melbourne versus Adelaide. A lot of simmering tension between the two teams, in particular the two standout performers in some senses from both teams, Kevin Muscat and coach of Adelaide, John Kosmina. But despite the tension, John Kosmina has enormous respect for the Melbourne captain.
Muskie runs a show for him. He's proven that throughout the year. When Muskie hasn't played, they haven't played as well. Muskie makes things happen in the middle of the park. His work ethic, his passing, his touch, he drives people through his own ambition.
Well, he's had an enormous season, Kevin Muscat. How important is he to the team on Sunday?
Well, as John Kosmina says, he's the most important cog, if you can put it in the wheel for Melbourne. He's the leader. Look, he's physical. Of that, there's no doubt. It's well documented the amount of red cards he's had in his season, had in his career, and yellow cards as well. But what people seem to forget, and John Kosmina hasn't, is that he is a very, very good footballer, and he's the link man quite often between the defence and the attack in the midfield. He drives the team. He's got a great touch. And he's a very good passer of the ball, whether it be short passing or long passing. I think he's had a wonderful season, and for me, one of the players of the season.
He has had an outstanding season, Kevin Muscat. It'll be an outstanding day at Telstra Dome as well. Last Friday, Australia Day, was the first leg of the minor semi-final. Sydney at home to Newcastle. It revved up some pretty interesting highlights.
Stanley headed across the face of goal. Coveny is nowhere. It's gone in. Alex Grosk has scored again. Sydney FC take the lead. Corica, delightful ball in from Corica. It's 2-0 Sydney FC. Minutes of this second half, it's a different Newcastle team.
We had to dig it out in the second half. It was just true grit and real heart that kept that lead for us.
Now we go home with the added bonus that we've scored a goal. So, yeah, game on.
Game on indeed. The stats for that match last Friday night, 13 of 25 shots on target. Sorry, 7 shots on target, but the Jets really, despite their loss, really dominated the shots in the penalty area action. Sydney caught offside four times to Newcastle's 1. 5 corners to 2, which I guess in favour of the Jets tells another story, and a lot of fouls, 35 fouls in the match. Robbie Slater, are we expecting a foul-a-thon tonight, or are we expecting action on goal?
Oh, look, I think it'll be physical. There's so much at stake, and we saw that last week, and I think what those stats prove, particularly the 7 shots on target, 3 for the Jets, 4 for Sydney, basically 50% possession. It was very, very even. It's going to be the same here tonight. It's going to be tight. I've already said that if they sit back Sydney, that'll play into Newcastle's hands. They have got players who can open you up, and of course, if you sit very deep, it only takes a ball to bounce the wrong way, and all of a sudden you're down. So they need to play their normal game. But look, it will be physical. So look, I think there'll be a lot of fouls in the game.
It's going to be very, very tight indeed. Well, Newcastle need to win tonight's football game. Anything less, and their hopes and those of this huge crowd will have to be warehoused for another year. They have the players and the form, but do they have the temperament? We'll be back right after this to find out.
Look, it's been such a long road for us for where we were after 7 rounds and for the players to get themselves back into the mix and into the top 4 this year.
Briggs races onto it, could be 2-0. Mark Briggs! That could be it for the Jets!
Good teams will do that and then maybe drop out of the 4. But a great team will go on and achieve something this year.
And the Jets are starting to play here. Ball coming in, it could be 3! It is 3! And surely now the Jets are heading for the top 4.
I believe that we'll definitely rattle a few cages in this final series.
Less than 20 minutes till kick-off here at Energy Australia Stadium. Well, the last 2/3 of Hyundai A-League version 2 for Newcastle have been outstanding. They have been by far and away the best team in the competition. Nevertheless, it's a second 2/3 of the season which tells a very, very interesting story. The worst defence of Australian teams in the competition, conceding 32 goals, and they've yet to beat Sydney this season. Robbie Slater, what do we learn from this?
Well, we learned that they had a very, very ordinary start to the season, and we know that. They didn't win a game when a coach was changed. Of course, Gary Van Egmond came in to replace Nick Theodorakopoulos, and all of a sudden things changed. Why? Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes football, it just takes that sort of a change, wakes players up, a new challenge, new coach, and they certainly responded to Gary Van Egmond. It's sometimes, as I said, it is very hard to put your finger on exactly what did change that, but certainly they've scored a lot more goals and they've conceded less. A lot of those goals they conceded were in that first, half or third of the season, whichever way you want to look at it.
Well, that season has been split into 2 as far as the coaches are concerned, Theodorakopoulos and Gary Van Egmond. It was Theodorakopoulos, however, who brought Milton Rodriguez to the club. Now, here's a player whose name has been in the newspapers all week. Will he start or will he not? What are your views, Rob?
Well, someone said that he's been more lines in the paper than Paris Hilton.
Yes.
So, look,
Milton
I'm not so
and
sure
Hilton.
that. Mind you, I prefer Paris Hilton, but there you go, that's just me. But look, I think he'll start tonight. I think his form against Sydney, he scored 2 on debut against them, scored last week coming on as a sub. I think Gary Van Egmond's going to start him.
Very interesting there. 4 goals as substitute, 7 goals in total. That's probably the reason why Gary Van Egmond started him from the bench last week. We'll see what happens this week. Well, one of his partners in crime from the same South American culture is Nick Carl. He's had a wonderful season himself. Here are some of his highlights.
Carl!
Obviously, he's a thorn in the side of everyone that he's played against. Extremely good on the ball, sees things very, very early, technically very good.
Carl works it onto the left boot.
He's a player that during the game a lot of people look to give the ball. He's got fantastic skills, and in one-on-one situations he's probably one of the best players in the competition.
Nicky Carl! 2-0 Jets!
And if you stop Nicky Carl, it certainly helps your cause in stopping Newcastle from playing. I like Nicky Carl, the way he plays, the way that he gets on the ball. He's very strong. Reminds me a little bit like Maradona. He has that low centre of gravity where he pivots well and he's very strong. Sees opportunity, scores great goals as we've seen this season, but also lays on goals for his teammates as well, very unselfish. So he's a good team player.
Here's Nicky Carl, though. Striding forward. Has a man on the overlap. Nicky Carl! What a goal! It's a goal worthy of winning any contest. Brilliant!
Nicky Carl, well, Maradona indeed. Butcher should know he played against him. So have you, Robbie Slater. What do you make of that?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know what sort of, or how many, or what kind of compliments Nicky Carl's had in his career, but I think that's about...
surely none better than that.
You can't get one bigger than that. I'm not so sure Nicky Carl's as good as Diego Maradona, but certainly his influence on this Jets side has been immense this season, and he's had a fantastic season. I, like so many other people, I'm a big fan of his. I think his form has been inconsistent, particularly in Hyundai A-League Season 1, but I think he's found the consistency and a few goals in there, which we always criticise him about not scoring enough goals. And what about that one he got against Adelaide to win the game? So, look, very, very good season, very productive and very important in this match tonight.
Certainly Newcastle could do with one of those goals from Nick Carl tonight. His coach as well, Gary Van Egmond, will certainly be on tenterhooks as this game unfolds. We caught up with him earlier today.
Well, Gary, big week and a big night for your club tonight. Has it been a case of keeping the emotions in check so far as the players are concerned?
Yeah, look, this week's been fairly low-key. We haven't been doing a great many training sessions this week either, and trying to make sure that the boys are freshen up and are mentally right on the night.
What have you focused on in training in terms of on the park? Is it the defence? Because many people think that might be the key to the game, how your defence performs tonight.
I think it's a key of how we defend from the front, and at this stage we've looked upon once we've gained possession to retain it for the 4 or 5 passes, and the first pass especially has got to stick. And first half against Sydney we didn't do that, and we turned the ball over way too cheaply and easily, and hopefully tonight we don't do that.
Reading some of the stats this week, Newcastle one semi-final appearance in 19 years in the old NSL. What does this night mean to the local people, do you think?
Look, this is a massive night for Novocastrian public. They've just shown so much faith, and it's fantastic that they've got a team in the semi-finals, and they've really come out and support them. And I really believe that if we can get through this game, wherever we're going to play, there's going to be a strong Novocastrian support.
Have a good night, Gary. Thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Good on you, mate.
Well, he's smiling, Gary Van Egmond, but surely he's very nervous. Here's the team he's picked for tonight. 2 changes for Newcastle. Andrew Durante comes in for Steve Eagleton, and Milton Rodriguez has won in the duel for the starting position over Vaughan Coveny. Griffiths, Carl Bridge and Rodriguez, therefore, will share the burden of getting that goal that Newcastle need to draw level. Well, they have been battered from pillar to post this season, but still the champions stand tall and strong. Do they have the hunger to see off Newcastle and fight another day? We'll discuss that right after this quick break.
I think our players have been there and done that. Even last year before the grand final, when I looked around, I saw how many players had won championships before. You've got that inner belief and self-confidence that you'll do it again because you've been there and done that. And I look around this year again, and I can happily say that with any team that have won a championship, and we know it's required.
Well, Sydney FC defending their title. It goes on the line tonight at Energy Australia Stadium. Robbie Slater, what do you make of Sydney's fortunes?
Well, look, they've had a difficult season. It's Drama FC, hasn't it? They've renamed themselves. And look, every week, or every day, just about, there's been a drama coming out of Sydney. And this week it was, of course, Dwight York suing them, or are they suing Dwight York? We don't know. But on the field, I think the players have stood up and stood tall. Of course, they've had their difficulties. They lost against New Zealand at home. They lost the second spot. They won last week, only a slight advantage here. But look, when they've had their backs against the wall in the past, they've always come through, and we'll have to see tonight.
Well, the man in the centre of a lot of the drama and a lot of the comment about Sydney FC has been their coach, Terry Butcher. We caught up with him earlier this afternoon.
Well, Terry, I know you've had this quote thrown back at you a few times, but you said this week in the press that you would put up a resistant performance that the Spartans will be proud of. Do we take from that you will try and defend and what you have you hold tonight?
Well, the Spartan forces are dead, unfortunately. They've been dead for quite a few centuries, but their spirit is the sort of spirit that we have to show tonight, and we have shown that in the past when it comes to big games. These are big game players, and hopefully they'll rise to the occasion again. But we know Newcastle will throw everything at us. They have to win. It's very similar to the Melbourne scenario when they beat Melbourne 4-0 and played very impressively on the night. But it's also similar to the Queensland scenario for us, when if Queensland won, then we were out of the final. So we don't want our season to end, and the boys don't want to let go of that championship trophy too easy.
Ufuk Talay comes back in today. Will he do the similar sort of role that Terry McFlynn did on Nicky Carl last week?
No, not really, because I think Terry does that job so well. He's very much used to that. But Nicky Carl's an excellent player. But we're just saying, well, we've got Mark Milligan in that midfield section as well. He scored a second goal last week, and we're looking to get the goal. We're not going to sit back and defend. And a lot of people think we're going to come up here and settle for a 0-0. I mean, I would settle for a 0-0, but I don't think if you play it that way, it's a safe sort of proposition. I think you have to go for the goals. And we're a team that loves to get forward and loves to get goals. So Milligan plays in there to get forward, and Ufuk Talay's the one that'll probably sit a little bit more deep. But having said that, he's a great passer of the ball, and it's great to see him back. We just feel sorry for Terry McFlynn.
And do you feel that there are 1 or 2 weaknesses in the Jets outfit that you can exploit tonight?
Well, they'll be saying the same about us as well, because there were goals last week, there'll be goals this week, I'm sure there will be. But it's a great occasion, fantastic crowd as well, and we're looking forward to it.
Enjoy it, Terry. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Well, Terry Butcher has opted for the following lineup. 1 change for the team. Terry McFlynn's groin injury sees Ufuk Talay return to to Sydney's midfield. There was concern over Nikolai Topor-Stanley, but he's been declared fit. There are goals on the bench in Petrosky and Zrilic, and the injury replacement, Jonas Sally, also makes his way onto the bench. Robbie Slater, very quickly, how do you see this one?
Well, look, I think the danger is for Sydney, as we've already said, is for them to try and play for a draw. I don't think they'll do that. They'll try and play for their normal game, but I think it'll be the midfield. Last week, in the 2-1 win to Sydney, first half they dominated the midfield, Sydney. Second half, when Corica moved back into that defensive midfield position, Newcastle had it. So it's about the midfield.
Well, Newcastle haven't beaten Sydney this season. Last season, the team that played home second won their semi-final. But this is not about omens, it's about football, and it's live and exclusive here on Fox Sports. After this break, it's kick-off, and your commentators, Simon Hill and Robbie Slater.
Well, it's a seminal moment in Newcastle footballing history. A record crowd, a slender deficit to make up, and the chance to move a step closer to a championship this city has never won. Will the champions give up their crown without a fight? It's the night of nights in the Hunter. It's Newcastle Jets against Sydney FC, with a place in the preliminary final, the prize. Well, Winston Churchill once said, "History will be kind to me because I intend to write it." And that's surely the kind of message both coaches will have imparted to their teams ahead of tonight's encounter. A reminder, a 1-0 victory will be enough for the Jets, and it seems they've been waiting a long time for this sort of evening in this city. In 19 seasons of the old NSL, only once did any Newcastle club make the semi-finals. Now tangible success is within reach, and 26,000 have turned up to do their bit for the cause. Sydney FC, though, are not called champions for nothing. Another turbulent week, of course. Is there any other kind involving the team in blue? But they're still in the race for the title, still leading the tie overall, and still many people's favourites to get through this tough assignment. Wonderful wall of noise greeting the two teams. Paul O'Connor's played in some big games in his time. He'll be enjoying this sort of atmosphere. He's the Jets captain tonight. And Sydney FC have travelled in their thousands too from the few kilometres to the south. They'll have good backing from their noisy supporters. It's another mini Cove at Energy Australia Stadium. Of course, talking of Sydney, Terry Butcher's acquisition of Jonas Sally to replace the injured Terry McFlynn has raised a few eyebrows, as well as heckles. He doesn't start in the Sydney team, though. This is the Jets side. Two changes made by Gary Van Egmond. Steve Eagleton and Vaughan Coveny dropped down to the bench. In come Andrew Durante at right back and Milton Rodriguez. Much talked about this week, much talked about in the pre-game. He starts up front. Well, this is the Sydney lineup, the similar 4-2-3-1 shape, just one change. Terry McFlynn, of course, the unlucky Terry McFlynn out through injury. Ufuk Talay, though, is back after suspension. Nikolai Topor-Stanley has passed a late fitness test on a heel injury and starts. And as we say, new signing Jonas Sally is on the bench. Talking of the benches, here's the Newcastle replacement list. Ben Kennedy, Steve Eagleton, Vaughan Coveny, Paul Kohler and young Troy Hearfield, the young Socceroo. He wears 21. Well, Sydney haven't always been able to call upon a full complement of replacements, but they can tonight. Jeremy Brockie is back from international duty. David Strilic and Sasha Petrosky join him. Justin Passfield is the reserve goalkeeper. He'll leave the club at the end of the season, we're told this week. And of course, Jonas Sally, the new signing, he wears 31. There is Milton Rodriguez with the headbands. They've been selling plenty of those this week, I can tell you. And Ufuk Talay Good news for Terry Butcher to have him back in his starting lineup today, somewhat offsetting the loss of Terry McFlynn. Referee tonight is Matthew Breeze. He actually officiated in 2 of the 3 league meetings in the regular season, and of course sent off Steve Corica. We're underway. There are no second chances now. No more second guessing. Second leg will tell us all. Sydney in the blue shirts. They're playing from left to right in the first half. Newcastle, with the noisy backing of well over 20,000 supporters, playing in the gold tops. It's bound to be tight and tense early on. Of course, it's as much of a game about the 2 number 10s, Nicky Carl and Steve Corica, as anything else. They're the 2 playmakers. Joel Griffiths will have a part to play as well. He thought he should have had a penalty in the first leg at Aussie Stadium. And his instructions, no doubt, will be to get forward and put some pressure on the Sydney backline.
Well, you've hit the nail on the head, Simon. It's about those 2 players, Steve Corica and Nicky Carl. Both had a massive influence on last week's game. Of course, Corica instrumental in setting both goals up last week in the first half. Moved back into a more central defensive midfield role in the second half. They lost their momentum, and Nicky Carl, along with Milton Rodriguez, when he was introduced, ran the midfield in that second half. So it's about the containment of those players. Of course, McFlynn did a great job on Nicky Carl last week. He's not there this week, so it'll probably be Milligan with the duty of stopping Nicky Carl.
Ruben Zadkovic, who's continuing his duties at right fullback. Pretty impressive he's been too in that, well, we call it a makeshift role. Maybe it'll be a permanent one next season. It's a wonderful atmosphere inside Energy Australia Stadium. Perfect night for football as well. The surface is a lot better than it was a few weeks back. It's a relatively cool evening for this time of year. The stage is set for what should be a wonderful night. Free kick for Sydney to be taken by Ufuk Talay. Square to his captain, Mark Rudin. Corica completes the triangle. And a dink over the top for Robbie Middleby. Now Corica. That was by Stuart Michalek. Now Mark Bridge. Nicky Carl, look how tight the space is early on. There'll be a lot of adrenaline flowing in the bodies of these players. They know how important this occasion is. Placed against either Melbourne or Adelaide in the preliminary final, awaiting the winners. Ruben Zadkovic loses out to Michalek. Carl gets the free kick off Zadkovic. And Carl has taken the set piece quickly. He'd spotted the run of Joel Griffiths, who, as he was in the first leg, will be tracked by Nikolai Topper-Stanley. Topper-Stanley again just manages to hold the Jets up. This is Griffiths again. And was that a trip by Robbie Middleby? Joel Griffiths thought so. But the flag had gone up on the far side, and there was a moment's confusion there. I think Newcastle originally thought the free kick had gone Sydney's way, hence the arguments from Ufuk Talay.
Well, Matthew Breeze's hands seem to point in the direction in favour of Sydney. And now has gone back to Newcastle, of course. Dangerous position this. Interesting battle that will be. Nikolai Topper-Stanley had a fitness test yesterday, was injured during the week in the Olympic training camp in Adelaide. And he's up against Joel Griffiths, and you won't get a moment's rest from Joel Griffiths because he's all action and very physical, so we'll have to keep an eye on Topper-Stanley, particularly how he goes in this opening 20 minutes.
Talking of physical, Matthew Breeze has just had a quiet word in the shell like of Tim Brown, the combative Kiwi midfielder. He's dangerous in the air as well for Newcastle. Maybe a target from this set piece. Topper-Stanley is tracking it. Milton Rodriguez goes for goal instead. And it's over the top.
Well, he's so deadly against Sydney. 2 goals on debut at Aussie Stadium, another one last week coming off the bench and there from a difficult angle, fair way out. I thought, why won't I take another try? And there he's putting pressure on Ian Fife. Forces the mistake as Newcastle try to up the tempo.
Gary Van Egmond wanted them to get their passing game going as quickly as possible in this game. He thought they fell a bit short at Aussie Stadium in that respect last week.
Yeah, the first half they didn't have it. Second half they got it going, particularly when Rodriguez come on. But before that, because of that movement of Corica to take the place of Terry McFlynn, who went off injured, also the replacement of other players. Carney came into the middle, Brosh moved out to the right-hand side to allow Petrovsky to play up on as the focal point of the attack. In all, he moved 4 positions for one that went off. I thought that disrupted Sydney, and Newcastle took full advantage. They got their passing game going, and they got the goal they richly deserved in the end.
This is Talley. They can certainly pass the ball a bit. And he gets going. Foul on Mark Milligan.
There comes in with the studs up, Matthew Thompson. Here he comes sliding in. It's enthusiasm. He's going for the ball. In fact, the stats aren't up. He's just a little bit late. He acknowledges that it was a foul.
Well, Topo Stanley is up from the back. And it was a firm header just wide by Mark Milligan. Very similar to the one he scored in the first leg.
There's another free header. This one is from a standing start. Got a little bit of momentum. He's actually moving backwards, and then it's difficult to get any power or the direction he needed. Last week, the key to his header was a beautifully flighted ball from Corica, but he was attacking it at full pace, and he dispatched it into the top of the net.
The difference for the Jets was nobody picked Mark Milligan's run up at all last week. Jade North was at least partially with him on that occasion. Nobody's with Corica here. Got to take the ball with you, though. Does second time. Peels for the corner, doesn't get it.
Oh, but that's the area where Steve Corica, I feel, is at his most dangerous. Of course, he operates in behind Bross, but I feel when he goes from central position and drifts into the right-hand side, as he did last week when he set up Mark Milligan's goal, he's looking for the corner, he doesn't get it. Referee's assistant right on hand. But I feel that's where he is at his most dangerous.
Zadkovic back to his goalkeeper. It's forced a bit wide and it's under a bit of pressure from Milton Rodriguez. Did well, Clint Bolton.
Interesting, the selection, Simon, I feel, of Durante at right back. I thought Steve Eagleton last week caused Sydney a lot of problems, particularly in the last 20 minutes with his pace down the right-hand side. In fact, I think he forced a save from Clint Bolton with his left foot.
Here is Durante.
I think Durante's probably, the better defender, but going forward, definitely Eagleton has the pace to worry Sydney.
Well, I think Durante was put there because Gary Van Egmond was slightly concerned about the aerial threat of Nikolai Topor-Stanley coming forward, particularly from set pieces. And of course, Topor-Stanley got the header back across goal for Alex Brosk's opener last week. Steve Eagleton is rather diminutive. Andy Durant is a bit taller. This is Milligan. Outside of the boots. Evades Middleby.
Yeah, it's a difficult ball there. Mark Milligan picking up the ball from David Carney. Great overlapping run from the fullback Ruben Zadkovic. I thought that was the better option. As he glided past, just slide him in. Chance to whip a ball across the face of the box.
Nowhere to go from our bridge. Zadkovic is checked by Nicky Carl.
You have to be careful there. He's no attempt to play the ball there, Nicky Carl. He's gone for the body. And watch here, Zadkovic in control of the ball. There's no attempt to play the ball. It can be a painful one in the ribs. Compared to Diego Maradona and Terry Butcher. Well, I think he's a lot taller than Maradona, isn't he?
Well, they're both all left foot, that's for sure. Ruden's free kick, met by Jade North. Milligan's touch. Top of Stanley. This is good movement by Sydney. Middleby's ball in. He's behind Milligan. Fife's header, touched by Top of Stanley. Just too far for both Brosk and David Carney. 10 minutes played at Energy Australia Stadium. Goalless on the night. A reminder that it's Sydney leading over the two legs by 2-1. The scenario is a 1-goal victory for Newcastle tonight. Would be enough to send them through to the preliminary final. Unless, of course, it was by 3-2, in which case the away goals rule would come into effect and Sydney would go through. Just to complete the scenarios, of course, if it was 2-1 for Newcastle tonight, then it would be extra time and possibly penalties, and we're told that the Jets have been practicing their spot kicks this week, just in case. Now this is Nicky Carl. Bridge. Brown. Matt Thompson has drifted out to the left. Here is the Jets number 8. Right-footed player, of course, Matty Thompson, so he can cut in and drift those sorts of crosses over to the far post where Durante was lurking. But Bolton's quick throw might just put the Jets in a bit of trouble here. Middleby's away. Only Brosk in front of him. Corica is wide right. Brosk being trapped by Jade North. North comes out on top and wins the free kick, and Matthew Breeze will now have a word with Alex Brosk.
Well, just frustration, I think. Alex Brosk thought he might have been fouled first.
Well, it's a yellow card shown to Alex Brosk, and it's very costly so far as Sydney are concerned, because of course he picked up a yellow in the first leg, and the rules in the final series are 2 yellow cards and you get a 1-game ban. So if Sydney were to get through tonight, he would miss the preliminary final.
Yeah, and he'll be very disappointed when he sees it. It's a stupid reaction. It's come out of frustration, but it costs him an appearance if Sydney get through.
Now, Milton Rodriguez, onside, it's Rodriguez! How did he miss? How on earth did he miss?
Well, he's done the hard part. He's actually done it beautifully, lifting it over the keeper, but he's missed the target. It's a mistake at the back from Ian Fife. Mark Ruden looks around for the referee's assistance flag. There is no flag. Here's Ian Fife, missed kick, little touch from Bridge, he's through, one-on-one. Right idea, lifted over the keeper, but he's missed the target. What a chance.
It's a sitter, and he knows it. Well, Energy Australia Stadium still in a bit of a state of stunned disbelief.
Well, that would have set up the match, wouldn't it? Newcastle have gone one ahead there. Defensive mistake. They get away with it, Sydney. And you just get the feeling if Rodriguez gets another one like that, he won't be missing again. So a warning sign for Sydney FC. Well, I must say, they've started quite positively. They're not sitting back. They're trying to play their normal game. But of course, we focused on Nicky Carl, who really hasn't featured at the moment. I think when we focus on Nicky Carl and Steve Corica, and rightfully so, we forget about some of the other wonderful players around who can hurt you. And there's many on both sides. Alex Brosk, Carney, of course, who by his standards of last season has had a quiet one. But of course, you've got the trio of Griffiths, Bridge and Milton Rodriguez.
Well, it started to hot up. Golden chance for Milton Rodriguez. Yellow card for Alex Brosk. As if Terry Butcher doesn't have enough problems. He's got out of jail here.
Well, he gets in behind. Mark Rutten maybe just doing enough to put him off. But Bolton was committed. It's the right idea. Lifted over him. What a chance.
Good hassling by David Carney. And the Jets back line under pressure. Milton Rodriguez, he's got to forget about that miss. Got to get it out of his head.
Yes, I think that's a good point. Much the same as Alex Brosk has got to put his suspension out of his head. See him up there on his own, he's shaking his head. There's Milton Rodriguez. He'll get over that. He knows if he gets another one, Alex Brosk just hanging the head down, thinking about it. You've got to get over that now. It's over, it's done, it's happened. You have to concentrate and try on winning this game.
Well, Terry Butcher seems to be saying, what else can go wrong? And we just got a quick glimpse of Gary Van Egmond, who's decided to watch the first half of this game in the stands, which is an interesting departure.
He looked quite sinister there in the darkness. Of course, a lot of coaches in Europe and around the world do that. You get a much better perspective than sitting on the bench at pitch level.
And of course, John Kosmina's watched a few games from the stands this season. Not by choice, but there he is, Gary Van Egmond.
Yeah, he did, John Kosmina. Some of his players would argue that's when they played their best football. Only joking.
Glad you said that.
I think he quite enjoyed his time up in the stands.
Now, the Jets fans didn't enjoy that decision. They thought that was a handball by Alex Brosk.
I think it hits him on the chest.
This is Corica. Carney. Very confined space. It's getting smaller by the moment, and it was too small for Steve Coric to work the opening.
No, he just got overcrowded. 3 Jets players. Carney did make the move, but just rolling the ball out. Here he goes, he rolls, tries to make a bit of space. Very close, did the ball go completely over the line? Referee's assistant was very well placed. Of course, Adelaide playing Melbourne in Melbourne on Sunday. Yet to win a finals game, Adelaide. Of course, they finished top of the table last year, finishing second this season. You'd have to say over the 2 seasons, Adelaide and John Kosmina had 2 very, very good seasons. I think they'd just like to combine that with some finals wins.
Now Bridge losing out to first Milligan, then Talley. Carney will try and get around the back of Matthew Thompson. And subsequently Paul Ocon, and he's done so. Good work by Carney. Needs a decent ball in. A bit high for Middleby, who was tugging at the shirt of Durante. A good persistent play there by David Carney.
Yeah, chase the lost cause, and Paul Ocon maybe better just to dispatch that one over the sideline. And fortunately for Carney, just couldn't find the final ball into the box. Middleby had come in early from his left-hand side.
Thompson lifts it over the top. Intelligent running by Joel Griffiths, and Clint Bolton just for a moment was out of position there.
No, I think Joel Griffiths, if he just allows that to go over his head, I think the ball would have held up. Again, they were caught square, Sydney. Pushing up, Fife and Gruden very, very square.
Mark Gruden, who really came of age, of course, in the final series last year, scored that goal against Adelaide United. Carl loses out to Zatkovic, who's looked hugely determined in the opening 20 minutes. Ruben Zatkovic, I think that right fullback role really suits him. Thompson. Terry Butcher's off the bench for the first time.
Won't be the last.
Well, he's telling his players to talk to each other.
I think both sides haven't really settled yet. I think the battle's still going on. There's a lot of coaches who say you've got to win the battle early on. It's physical, it's quick, not much time on the ball. And if you can win that battle, win most of the individual battles on the field, you can earn the right to play.
Free kick came off the head of Bridge. This is Milton Rodriguez. Bumped into touch by Matt Thompson. And there's more words from Terry Butcher on the sideline. Nicky Carl. Again, Griffiths sets off on an intelligent run. Awkward bounce for Topper Stanley, who did well.
Yeah, it's good play from the left fullback. Coming across his cover as the ball's on the other side. What you don't want is your left fullback staying wide on the right-hand side of midfielder, because that's not where the danger was. The danger is where the ball went, and he was across the cover. Good defending.
Now, did Ian Fife lean into Milton Rodriguez there? Good for my money. Rodriguez still feeling the after effects.
See, as they did play that long ball up to Alex Brosk, he was far too isolated. Needs Corica to get closer to him, or if he can't, either Middleby or Carney. He's going to have a very long night. Thought last week what they did well in the second half. Paul Ocon started stepping into midfield from the back and outnumbering the Sydney midfield. Milton Rodriguez holding his back. I'm sure he'll recover. We haven't seen that much from Paul Ocon this season. I thought he was excellent in the second half. All class. Had the confidence to drive into the Sydney midfield. Along with Michalek and Tim Brown, they outnumbered Sydney, dominated the proceedings.
Tim Brown. Michalek finds Carl, again under pressure from Carney. This is Paul Ocon. Australian footballing royalty, I suppose you could call him. Stellar career overseas, 15 years. And titles and Player of the Year awards. Lots of caps for the Socceroos. Many feel this season could be his swan song. Runasari wants to go into coaching. Wants to sign off as a winner. This is Milton Rodriguez. He and Bridge might have got their wires crossed there, but it's broken kindly for them. Durante on the right, and it's off Topper Stanley and behind for a corner. First corner of the game. It's gone the way of the Jets, and taken in front of the Sydney FC supporters. Milton Rodriguez still feeling that right-hand side of the body. Here's the corner. Tale's header. Carney misjudged the bounce. Carl wins it back. This is Michalek. Ocon. Milton Rodriguez. Zadkovic was there. Rodriguez again lifts it over the top. Chance for Bridge. The goalkeeper's come. Real chance for the Jets to take the lead, and appeals for handball as well against Ufuk Talay. Not heeded by Matthew Breeze. And Joel Griffiths is adamant that should be a spot kick.
Well, he didn't see it. It is definitely a handball, and it would be a red card for Ufuk Talay. Saved a certain goal. Going out on the limb, Simon, with you. But the ball is lobbed over. It's goal bound. Griffiths looking just to flick it in. The ball's definitely come off the arm, but did he mean it? Having seen it again, there was no movement of the arm. It's definitely hit the arm. The thing is, the referee's assistant was unsighted, as was Matthew Breeze. But I thought it was more clear-cut than that.
Here's the subsequent corner. And Bolton comes and doesn't get there, but he's fouled in the process.
Oh, what a decision. What a talking point. And Milton Rodriguez, his great chance. Caught square against Sydney, won't they? And here's the ball. Mark Bridge flicks it over. It's goal bound. Joel Griffiths just looking to help it on its way. It's on its way. It's definitely come off his arm, but I don't think there's any intent there.
Well, they've had a couple of lives, haven't they, Sydney FC?
Well, the crowd thinks it's a penalty. They've just seen it on the big screen here. There was definitely no movement of the arm towards the ball. And if you look at his eyes, and it might sound a bit silly, but you can actually make out he's not actually looking at the ball.
Well, it's up the tempo of the game again. Here's Nicky Carl. Milton Rodriguez. Brown helps it on. Carl, great movement by the Jets. Joel Griffiths. It evades Bolton, and it's behind again by Zatkovic. The Jets starting to press.
Well, they're on the ropes. They're knocking on the door, Newcastle. Sydney are getting dragged out of position. It's the movement of the ball from the Jets. Great play from Nicky Carl and Joel Griffiths. Sliding this one. Zatkovic, to be fair to him, alive to the danger.
That one's a bit easier for Clint Bolton, who's looked a bit nervous with one or two of the things he's had to deal with so far. Not like him. Normally the coolest man on the park, the Sydney FC goalkeeper. Nothing phases him.
Well, Newcastle have upped the tempo in the last 5 or 6 minutes. And it's the movement of the ball. Sydney trying to close it down, but they're controlling it, moving it on, dragging Sydney players around. And that's what they can do so well, because they've got likes of Carl and Rodriguez, Bridge. They're all very, very comfortable on the ball, able to control it, and in one movement, pass it on. Put Mushalik in that class as well. Sydney needs some possession, and they need to stay more compact. Far too stretched when they lose the ball.
Jade North slips it forward for Griffiths. Over the top, looking for Milton Rodriguez. Zatkovic there again. Nicky Carl from a long way out. Well, he's got the ability to hit them from that sort of range.
It's a decent strike. Of course, it's off target, but he's got the confidence to hit it. Such is the mood of Newcastle at the moment. Again, they get caught square. Luckily, the right fullback, Zatkovic, coming across his cover, much the same as Nikolai Topper-Stanley did 7 or 8 minutes ago, but Mark Rudin and Ian Fife not communicating well at the moment. They're getting caught out of position. And they're pushing up very high when there's no pressure on the ball in the Newcastle midfield. You can't do that.
Just on the bottom of your screen here, you can see Milton Rodriguez has come to the sideline, and he's asking for something from the Newcastle bench, whether he wants some treatment on that injured right side. In fact, he's called for the doctor, we're told, to come and have a look at his ribs. But the referee wasn't about to allow him off the pitch whilst the ball was still in play. Now with the ball out of play, Milton will get some treatment.
That was after that challenge. You saw it, Simon, the challenge with Ian Fife. Here's the challenge. Ian Fife just really holding his ground, climbing onto the back, and whether it's the back or the rib cage.
Well, of course, the Jets do have Vaughan Coveny on the bench. I'm sure Rodriguez will want to come back. This is Tim Brown with another snapshot from a similar sort of distance from the one that Nicky Carl had a few moments ago.
Yeah, no run-up, little back lift. I think Sydney would be quite happy in Newcastle to be taking shots from that sort of distance. It'll have to be something special to beat Clint Bolton. 30, 35 metres out. And there's Milton Rodriguez. And there's the interpreter.
And Nicky Carl and Milton Rodriguez, of course, great mates as well as teammates. Nicky Carl fluent in Spanish, sorting out any mistranslations. This is Mushalik. Forward for Durante. He'll be asked to get forward a lot in this game. Jets have had 5 shots in the opening half an hour. Sydney just the one. This is David Carney. Incidentally, a few moments ago, received a fearful rocket from Tale, presumably for not tracking the run from midfield. Now it's a foul by Brosk on Paul Ocock. Mickey Carl. Well, he knew Thompson was there, the idea was right, just the execution was wrong. Such a gifted player, Nicky Carl. Terry Butcher is, again, making his points very forcefully. He's seen himself on the big screen and decided to sit down. Van Egmond prefers more remote methods. Lovely floated pass from Tale, helped on by Topper Stanley. Middleby. Jade North stuck with him. Corner for Sydney. Robbie Middleby, of course, a Newcastle boy. Made 62 appearances for the old Newcastle United. Scored 6 goals. He'll have all his family and friends here today. I'm not sure what colours they'll be wearing. Corica has to run the gauntlet of taking the corner in front of the squadron. Kovic at full stretch.
What a great kick from Ante Kovic. We saw the run of Mark Bridge. He's picked him out.
Bridge taking on Zatkovic, and Bridge has managed to get around him, but Zatkovic just managed to get a toe on the ball. He's had a good start to this game, Ruben Zatkovic.
He has. He's defended very well. Talked about this as maybe a position made for him where he'll finally settle into his career as a right fullback. And he's got all the right attributes. He showed already in this opening 32, 33 minutes what a good defender he can be. Intelligent, covering when the ball's on the opposite side. But also he's very quick, and it's what he can offer to the attack for Sydney. I'd like to see him do more because he's quick, he's good on the ball, and he's a good crosser of the ball. It's something that he'll have to work on. Of course, he's only very, very young. He can become better, a better crosser of the ball with practice.
Of course, he's one of several players who's been in Adelaide this week with the Ollie Roos. Not all the coaches involved in finals football are particularly happy with that. Not least Gary Van Egmond, because Mark Bridge picked up a slight injury. Now there's a familiar face, Craig Johnston, formerly of Liverpool, of course. Played here for a short spell with the old Breakers.
He did. He had a guest appearance, and well, I was just at the start of my career with a club called St George, and I played against him.
And there's another famous face, the state premier, Maurice Yama, who told us before the game he didn't care who won.
You have the ear of everyone, Simon, don't you?
Not true.
The new Alan Jones.
Terry Butcher getting ever more animated as Mark Bridge picks up the ball. That's a gorgeous pass for Griffiths, who's again peeled away, and Brown was waiting in the middle. Still Griffiths.
Oh, again they're getting behind. Joel Griffiths again. Tim Brown had made a great run from midfield. He was breaking into the box, but Joel Griffiths just couldn't find the right delivery. Trying to slide it across the face of goal. If he had done that, Tim Brown would have had a tap in. Again, they got him behind Sydney fairly regularly in the last 15 minutes.
Middleby. Corica had got him behind the Jets defence, but pass wasn't the best from Robbie Middleby. He's had a very consistent season though for Sydney FC. He's really enjoyed being a regular as part of Terry Butcher's side. And perhaps he will feel that this team at the moment has got a bit of a psychological edge, not because they're still leading 2-1, but because they're trailing in terms of possession. They've had a possible penalty not given. They've seen Milton Rodriguez flash one the wrong side of the post when really he should have scored. Maybe after all the ill luck that's dogged Sydney this season, they're getting 1 or 2 breaks. Flag is up for offside. There's the Sydney FC supporters, and there are plenty of them. Told over 1,000 have made the journey, and it's making for a wonderful atmosphere. These sort of scenes, and we've said it before, really reminiscent of big games in Europe. It's fantastic. Scenes that's been repeated right around the country this term.
Well, there was a lot of doubters, wasn't there? When the Hyundai A-League started, people, it won't work. Always the usual suspects. Oh, can't hear them anymore.
How many tickets sold on Sunday? 42,000. Unbelievable.
I tell you, Newcastle haven't done too bad in the last month either, have they? They're going to break their record tonight.
And they break Sydney's spirit. There's Paul Ocott venturing into midfield. Now Milton Rodriguez. Blue shirts swarming all around him. Again appeals for handball. A bit more half-hearted this time. Nicky Carl. Did he keep it in play? He did. Now Thompson. Jets started to press again. Thompson checks onto his favoured right boot. Talley was there. Ross will tidy up. Robbie Middleby on the charge. And he was obstructed by Jade North. Decision's not popular, but for mine, it's the right one.
Yeah, he just misjudged the Jade North, and he's just used his body to body check Robbie Middleby. He would have got him behind him. Now, Jade North is very quick. So is Middleby. Yeah, difficult to know whether he would have caught him. He certainly just took him out as he misjudged the weight on that pass.
That's the signal for Topper Stanley to move forward. So to Ian Fife. It's towards Topper Stanley, who wins the header. Kovic comes and plays.
Good goalkeeping. Comes and collects it with confidence. Exactly what the defenders want to see.
Kovic, who was given a bit of stick for his role in the goals last week at Aussie Stadium. Certainly the first one, he got caught a bit in no man's land. He admits himself he's been a bit up and down since returning to Australia. Puts a lot of pressure on himself to perform. Started tonight steadily enough, and he's not had too much to do. Zadkovic. Sold off at Talley a bit short, and Griffiths was onto it in a flash, and a little flashpoint between him and Talley as well. Now it's with Nicky Carl. Thompson up on the overlap on the left. Carl delayed too long. Good challenge by Milligan.
Well, they're certainly on top, Newcastle. They look dangerous every time they break. Just lost the momentum in that one. Mark Milligan coming back, stopping the flow.
corner for the Jets. Well, Nicky Carl has been busy. Sydney have tried to keep a close eye on him. There's the corner counts. As we move into the final 5 minutes of the first half, more work for Clint Bolton to do, perhaps. Bolton came and was a long way from getting to the ball. Sydney survive again.
Well, they rattled Sydney. Terrible pass there from Ian Fife. David Carney was breaking down the left-hand channel. Clint Bolton then misjudging the flight of that cross. There's a foul. Durante on Middleby.
Milton Rodriguez just trying to disrupt the flow. And a free kick is taken, and Alex Brosk will claim the corner. In fact, I think it's gone out for a throw-in. Well, it's been an eventful first half for Alex Brosk. That yellow card must be playing pretty heavily on his mind. Zepkovic has now lost out to Joel Griffiths, who's perhaps been the Jets' likeliest threat, and he dinks it past Mark Rudin and tries to use his pace to get it behind. Wonderful run by Griffiths. Was that a trick by Rudin? And Matthew Breeze had an awful long look at that.
I think it's a penalty.
And again decides no penalty.
Well, Stutman-Nick out in the first one, probably got it wrong, but I think that one's a penalty. I think he's clipped his heel. Joel Griffiths goes across the defender. He clips him. You can't have a clumsy challenge like that. I think it's a pen. It's from behind. He's got nothing on the ball. He's clipped his heel. Why would he fall over? He's driving towards the near post. I think it's a pen.
Well, I have to say, I'm not so sure. And what it's led to, of course, is some argy-bargy in the centre of the field, and one or two raised arms here. A yellow card's been issued. Not quite sure to whom. Maybe Mark Rudin, but everybody's getting involved.
I think it's to Mark Rudin. And if it is him, he needs to just step back now as the captain. He's already had 2 red cards this season.
Well, it ends in smiles for Rudin and Matt Thompson at least. I'm pretty sure it was Mark Rudin who got the yellow. Temperatures certainly starting to rise here.
Oh, there's a lot at stake, isn't it? Look, I think it's a penalty because Joel Griffiths does well. He goes across, and we teach kids, once you get in front of a defender, go across him, because then he can't touch you. There's no intent from Rudin, but as soon as he gets too close to him and he clips him on the heel, it is a penalty.
Did he clip him?
I think he did, yes. Because I look at it and I think, why would you fall over? You're clear on goal.
Well, I'll stand by my statement that I'm still not 100% sure there was contact. Of course, Joel Griffiths had similar appeal turned down in the first leg, and now it's Ocon and Brosk getting involved in a heated debate. Matthew Breeze has got to take control of this, because it started to get a bit out of hand at Energy Australia Stadium.
I think Alex Brosk could be off here.
Well, there's fisticuffs, and really, this is not what we want to see in finals football. There are punches being thrown, and now Ian Fife's gone to ground, seemingly fell by a left hook, maybe by Jade North. Well, we know that rugby league is played at this stadium. At times it's resembling that coat. There's fights breaking out all over the place.
But there's players diving everywhere as well. I'd like to see the challenge. Alex Brosk, and I think it's Paul Ocon. Second yellow card means a red for Alex Brosk. He's distraught. Paul Ocon saying you did it. Well, it puts Terry Butcher's not happy.
Well, it's a huge blow for Sydney FC, and would you believe it's the third time this season they've had a player sent off against the Newcastle Jets. First Steve Corica, then Matty Bingley, now Alex Brosk.
Sent off.
Well, there's a lot gone on after the send-off of Alex Brosk, and there's been nothing given.
Well, we knew it would be heated. But the blue touch paper really has been lit in the closing moments of the first half. It's a local derby, of course. There's always going to be plenty of niggle. That's a challenge on Paul Ocon by Alex Brosk has led to a red card for the Sydney man.
Well, he's coming from the side. Ocon says he's up with the elbow.
Well, that's it for the first half, a very eventful first half. Still the arguments and discussions and debates go on between the players. In terms of the action on the park, the Jets have certainly had the better of things. They've had the best chance through Milton Rodriguez. They've had a couple of penalty appeals turned down, but Sydney FC are down to 10 men. And the score sheet, as the arguments continue to rage at the break, is Newcastle Jets 0, Sydney FC 0. Now Paul Ocon is being separated, or trying to be separated, from Sasha Petrovsky. And really, well, these are the sorts of scenes that we just don't want to see. We know that it's heated, we know there's a lot at stake, but really the players have got to keep their cool. Perhaps a good time for them to take a breather, and we'll take a breather too. See you in a couple of minutes. A little bit loopy when there's a full moon. That's certainly what happened at the end of the first half at Energy Australia Stadium. It's 0-0 between the Jets and Sydney FC. The Jets and their coach Gary Van Egmond can be pretty pleased with their performance in the first half. They've had most of the play. Milton Rodriguez should have scored. They might have had a couple of penalties as well. It's not such a happy dressing room for the visitors. Of course, they're down to 10 men. Alex Brosk sent off. He'll miss any preliminary final should Sydney FC get through. We've also had confirmation that in that melee towards the end of the break, Sasha Petrovsky was also shown a yellow card after that little mini scuffle with Paul Ocon. Here are the half-time stats. Jets have had more possession, more time in Sydney's half, more corners, just the one offside in the game, 17 fouls, 4 yellow cards, all for Sydney, and of course the red that was issued to Alex Brosk. Let's check out all the chances from the first 45 minutes. Well, ironically enough, Sydney had the first chance of the game. Mark Milligan just flashing a header wide of the post, similar sort of range to the one he scored from last week.
Yeah, this one different, not attacking the ball, doesn't get the power or the direction he needs on it in a half where really both goalkeepers really didn't have a save to make.
This was the golden chance, though.
This is the one. He gets in behind. It's a mistake from central defender Ian Fife, who mishits his clearance. Bridge gets his head to it, knocks it through. Put your house on Milton Rodriguez hitting the target there, and if he did, he would have scored. Should have scored.
First of 2 penalty appeals. This was for the handball against Ufuk Talay. No question the ball hit his hand. Was it deliberate?
That first look, it looks a definite penalty. And when we look at it again as Mark Bridge puts this one over, Griffiths looking to just help it into the net. Ufuk Talay hasn't got his eyes towards the ball. Hits his arm. I don't think there's any intent. There's no movement of the arm towards the ball. Might sound harsh for Newcastle, but I think he got it right.
Joel Griffiths has made some great little dangerous runs, particularly diagonally across the box. Zatkovic there, fortunately for Sydney FC.
Zatkovic in the perfect position, great defending. Mark Bridge doesn't come across him, but Ruben Zatkovic has got him covered and is able to hook that one out for a corner.
Jets have had a couple of shots from long range as well. This one was on 29 minutes. Tim Brown has been a good acquisition for them. Paul Ocon just feeding it into feet, and he thought he may as well have a go. Not a bad try.
Yeah, it's from a standing start, little back lift. He doesn't hit the target. Very difficult to score from that sort of position. Need to be something special.
Now, this was the second penalty appeal of the first half, and it all came really from a Jets counter-attack. And again, it was Joel Griffiths at the centre of things, using his pace and his power to get it behind Mark Rudin and Ufuk Talay. Was he tripped by Rudin?
Well, I think he was, because he does so well. He gets in behind and then he cuts across Rudin. He cuts across. Here he gathers the ball, starts to angle towards. He goes across the defender. That's what you teach kids. I think he clips him on the heel. There's no intent. Doesn't matter. It's a clumsy challenge. Should have been a pen.
Well, we've had 2 or 3 looks at it. Yeah, maybe just came across it. It's difficult to tell from any sort of angle, but the referee's decision is final, and Matthew Breeze said no penalty, but he did say yellow card for substitute Sasha Petrovsky for Sydney for his part in that little melee with Paul Ocon. It's all gone off in the first half at Energy Australia Stadium. Here are the attack stats. Jets have had the majority of shots, 5 to Sydney's 1. 11 times they've been in Sydney's penalty area. Just the 1 shot on target, though, and no saves to make for either goalkeeper Ante Kovic or Clint Bolton. Now, of course, it's a big weekend in Melbourne as well. As far as the A-League finals are concerned, the second leg of the major semi-final is coming your way on Fox Sports 3 on Sunday. The victory against Adelaide. Our coverage starts at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time from the Telstra Dome in Melbourne. And later on next week, of course, it's the Socceroos, live and exclusive to Fox Sports for the first time. The friendly match against Denmark, live from Loftus Road in London. Our coverage starts at 6:30 a.m. on Fox Sports 3. Of course, Fox Sports is also your home of motorsport this weekend. We've got the A1 Grand Prix for you. Saturday at 2 o'clock on Fox Sports 3, we've got qualifying. And then on Sunday, it's the race itself at 2 p.m. And that's on Fox Sports 1. Don't miss it. Well, a bit of regrouping to do for Sydney FC and their coach Terry Butcher. They're down to 10 men again. They've got the worst disciplinary record in the Hyundai A-League. But will they win through to the preliminary final? They're still in front at the moment. Find out after the break. They're always fiery, feisty and fiercely competitive. And what started here at Energy Australia Stadium tonight as niggly, in the end, has sadly become rather nasty. These two teams have brought back the biff to this part of the world a couple of months early. And the culmination was a red card for Alex Brosk and a yellow too for Sasha Petrovsky. And there are no goals on the score sheet at the break. And Sydney still have their 2-1 advantage that they held after the first leg. I wonder what Gary Van Egmond, the Jets coach, has made of it all. He's talking now on the sideline with Andy Harper.
Well, Gary, there's a lot of heat in the atmosphere tonight. You've got the player advantage, but you still don't have the goal that you need. What was the word to your team at half-time?
Yeah, look, we obviously have to be very patient and disciplined. Obviously, with a man over, they'll look to defend the lead they've got from Sydney, and we have to make sure that we move the ball quickly in our own half, that we don't have players dwelling on the ball. And obviously we have to be patient and make sure that we're disciplined and not get caught up in the emotion.
There was plenty of needle in that first half. Is that something at half-time you addressed? Do you want to push the envelope or tell your players to back off a bit?
No, look, you know what it's like sometimes when you have a player sent off from the other team, it tends to have a situation where it gets evened up. We have to give the referee no cause to make sure that we keep the full complement of 11 players on the pitch, but also at the same time, we can't take a backward step. It's finals football, Andy.
It certainly has been a great first half. This roar is incredible, the Newcastle roar. You'll be looking for that to bring your team home in the second half?
Mate, they've been our 12th man all year, and hopefully they're going to be again.
Thanks for your time.
Cheers, Hubs.
Well, the Jets perhaps have 12 men. There is the number 12. Sadly for Terry Butcher, his team has just the 10. They're going to have to do it the hard way again if they're going to win through to the preliminary final. Sasha Petrovsky's got a smile on his face now, but he's already got a yellow card and he's not even set foot on the pitch yet. That's the sort of first half it's been. Matthew Breeze at the centre of things again. Big night in the Hunter, big second half in prospect. Big Terry expects from his team. 45 minutes to go. Newcastle 0, Sydney 0. Reminder, it's still Sydney with the advantage by 2 goals to 1 over the 2 legs. And I'm sure we're going to see lots of Jets pressure in the second half. Here they come through, Andy Durante. Zadkovic should be able to clear that, and does.
Well, everything about the season for Sydney's been dramatic, and tonight it just continues. They're going to have to do it the hard way. 10 men away from home.
Durante up towards Milton Rodriguez. Not really the ball you should be playing to the Colombian in the air. And then the volley by Bridge was rather off balance and off target.
And although obviously the numerical advantage is with Newcastle, Sydney should not sit back on their 18-yard box. They're going to have to, when they win the ball, try and break.
Yeah, it could be a long 45 minutes for Terry Butcher. Gary Van Egmond will have told his players to try and ram home this man advantage. Of course, Sydney in the regular season had the best defence in the entire Hyundai A-League, just 19 conceded. They're used to having to be resolute and resilient. The pressure from Middleby. Now Paul Ocon. Not too often you see Paul Ocon get involved in fisticuffs and bother. Just towards the end of that first half, as passions and tensions rose. This is Nicky Carl. Thompson. Happy to use Carl as the decoy. Mark Bridge, neat turn. And foul by Milligan in a very dangerous position. Milligan protests.
Well, they feel hard done by the Sydney players. Yellow cards, read 4 plus 1 red. It's a none Newcastle. Here Mark Bridge. Milligan actually gets the first touch, then Mark Bridge turns. I think that's a clear foul. What you can say about that?
Well, a chance of Newcastle go up. This is, of course, Milton Rodriguez territory. Well, Matty Thompson, he can hit them, so too can Nicky Carl and Mark Bridge. They've got plenty of options here, the Jets. But I fancy it might be the Colombian. It's Milton Rodriguez. And that's a good stop from Bolton.
Well, it's good positioning from Bolton. He's hit it with venom. Important thing is he's held onto it as well. Just goes for power rather than placement. Rodriguez. Clint Bolton perfectly positioned. Pretty good save.
Jade North goes route 1, very quick from the free kick. That's a bit too quick. Or even the live wire, Rodriguez.
And Sydney just staying with 4 at the back. It's Carney who's playing up front now, and Brosker's gone.
Mistake by Topper Stanley, and Andy Durante saw his name up in lights. Doesn't score too many, Andy Durante. That would have been a great story, of course, and the man who's come back from 2 broken legs. Jade North. Griffiths just dropped off and had spotted the run of Tim Brown.
And interesting what he's done. It looks like he's gone with 3 at the back, Terry Butcher. Done that once before this season. And it paid off.
That was away at Queensland, wasn't it? Final game of the home and away series. Well, they're used to digging it in, Sydney. They've been doing it all season. Really, given all their problems on and off the field, it's a miracle they're still in contention. This is Milton Rodriguez. Ruden's header. Rodriguez again. Into Mark Bridge. Touch for Carl. Durante is free on the right. That's what they'll try and do. Try and work the ball and create the spaces. That's not a good ball from Durante. Now Paul Ocon. Rodriguez sets it up for Ocon. Little dink, or attempted dink, over the top, and then Rudin and Clint Bolton almost getting in a real mess. Rudin wanted his goalkeeper to come, and Bolton was a bit slow off the mark.
No, Newcastle, to make it work, they need to stretch Sydney. Movement of the ball, players not dwelling on it and try and use the width of the pitch.
Thompson.
So through the middle there, I think that'll suit Sydney. Need to try and get in behind them. Conversely, Sydney need to try and hang on to the ball. It's 3 times it's gone up to David Carney. It's purely outnumbered.
Good ball by Michalek, looking for Griffiths. Griffiths ball in. That's just field in practice for Clint Bolton. Well, no prizes for guessing what the pattern of the second half is going to be. It's whether Sydney FC can hold out. They've kept 8 clean sheets this campaign, Sydney, in comparison to just 4 last term, and of course they won the championship itself. Durante floats one in towards Griffiths. He's in a rich vein of form at the moment, Joel Griffiths. 5 goals in his last 9 games. I'm sure the likes of Griffiths and Rodriguez and Bridge will be interchanged by Gary Van Egmond all the way throughout the second half as they try and pull Sydney FC out of position. Steve Corica with plenty to say. Thompson. That should be Bolton's again. Looking a lot more assured at the start of the second half than he was the periods in the first, Clint Bolton. Just got his angles wrong once or twice. The last clean sheet Bolton kept was at the stadium on New Year's Day in Sydney's 2-0 win over Newcastle. This is Carney, and Sydney have some respite, and they also have a corner.
Now what might be their best options in the second half is from a set piece. Mark Rudin will come up for this, and Fife and Topper Stanley's a threat in the air as we saw last week.
Rudin and Jake North exchanging a joke. Zapkovic and Middleby have dropped back. Headed into touch by Paul Ocon. Now Carney. Bridge and Carl doubling up to rob the Sydney man off the ball. And it's a goal kick. Well, this is the full-on Sony strike speed from that earlier free kick. And Milton Rodriguez, we told you, hit it with plenty of venom. Good positioning, though, by the Sydney FC number 1. Best ball from Bridge. Not the best ball either from Zatkovic, and Tim Brown went for goal. Second effort from that sort of a range.
Oh, there's Sydney, no movement. Zatkovic got the ball. Everyone just stood and looked at it. And it tried to slip it inside. Brown cut it out. Tried the shot, tried that in the first half as well. Fair way out. As I said in the first half, it needs to be something special to beat Bolton from there. And Terry Butcher, and signs from the sideline. I think he's really with a back 3-4 in the middle. And Corica, Carney. Corica just behind Carney.
As the possession stats in the second half, as you would expect, nearly 3/4 for the Jets.
Well, it's a long way to hold on for Sydney. They're going to concede that much possession.
Zatkovic deceived by the bounce, could be costly. Mark Bridge, man over on the left. Joel Griffiths, real chance. Goal, Newcastle. Joel Griffiths with the goal. And perhaps all bets now on the Jets. They have the goal that puts them in front in the tie for the first time.
What a wonderful finish. And Sydney didn't react. The ball fell to Bridge. I thought he hesitated. There was a mistake in defence. No one picked up Joel Griffiths. He still had a lot to do. And he curls it into the top right-hand corner. Here he hesitates. But no one gets across to Griffiths. He's able to take a touch outside of the foot, and he curls it into the far corner.
And didn't Gary Van Egmond enjoy it? His 6th goal in 10 games, Joel Griffiths. Was involved in some good things in the first period, but really it was an error of judgment by Ruben Zatkovic, who'd had such a good game up until that point for Sydney. And the champions are up against it again. Whistle had already blown, and Sydney are going to make a change. As David Carney argues the toss with Matthew Breeze. Sasha Petrovsky, of course, is already on a yellow card. It's going to come on.
Well, they looked like they were 10 men. It's always going to be difficult, but start of this opening period of the second half, Sydney have been very, very static.
David Carney, the man to make way. Not had a huge influence on this game. It's been a troubled season for the man who was really one of the shining lights of the A-League last campaign. And Sasha Petrovsky, of course, came off the bench and scored a wonder goal against the Jets at this ground on New Year's Day. Terry Butcher needs another one from him.
Well, he's gone with 3 at the back, 5 top of Stanley, Ruden central. Is that the reason why they were outnumbered? Joel Griffiths found so much space. Normally Zatkovic would have been in that right back position. He was the one that committed the error, but of course, he was central when he committed that. No one on the left-hand side.
Now, a reminder that it's 2-2 on aggregates, but Newcastle, if the scoreline was to remain this way, would go through by virtue of the away goals. Here's Thompson trying to put it beyond all doubt. He's won a corner. We approach the hour mark. Gary Van Egmond's going to make a change very shortly too. Vaughan Coveny is standing by.
I just wonder if Milton Rodriguez is still feeling the effects of that knock he picked up in the first half.
Here's the corner meantime. Free header, Milton Rodriguez must score. Oh, that's a great save with a boot from Clint Bolton. maybe has just saved Sydney's season, at least for the moment. Sydney under real pressure here. Nicky Carl goes through, goes to ground. No penalty again, says Matthew Breeze. The Jets are furious. Play continues. North's ball in. Bolton saves, and the Jets will again argue the toss, but they've got to get back quickly because Sydney on the counter. Sasha Petrovsky, Middleby is herring down the left, and that will be a set piece this time for Sydney FC. And Nicky Carl gets a yellow card, and it's all happening again at Energy Australia.
Well, it takes Petrovsky out. There's no doubt that it's a yellow card, but he is frustrated. He feels he should have had a penalty. It's the third massive penalty call for Newcastle, and that one looked like a tackle from behind. Did he get any ball? There's the tackle on Petrovsky. That's the yellow card. The thing that Nicky Carl's talking to the referee about is the penalty decision at the other end. He feels he should have had one. It was a good give and go.
Well, Milton Rodriguez is going to give way for Vaughan Coveny. He's obviously still struggling with that injury. He gets the by now de rigueur standing ovation from the home faithful. Coveny will give the Jets something a bit different. His first task is going to be to get back and defend this free kick, which Ufuk Talay will deliver. Pauling. Now, first touch for Coveny. Stuart Ushalik. I have to say, for my money, that was the clearest of the three penalty appeals.
Well, at first glance, of course, it looked like it, didn't it? I'd like to see it again. See if he did get any ball. Matthew Breeze signalling with his hands that he felt that some ball was got.
Ocon trying to slide it through the middle. Too much weight on it for Griffiths. Well, it's going to make for a fascinating last half an hour. Sydney, of course, have got to come out. There's no point defending now. They've got to find a goal from somewhere. Should make for a very open contest, which, of course, should in turn really suit the Jets. Robbie Middleby in foul trouble. And you know it's a competitive game when Robbie Middleby gets a word or two from the referee. Meantime, Stuart Ushalik is having some more attention to that shoulder injury he picked up against Melbourne Victory here a few weeks ago. Still not fully recovered. Just an adjustment to the strapping. Nicky Carl takes the free kick. Very, very deep. Back in towards Coveny. Cleared by Talay. Jake North down the line. Can Bridge keep it in? He can't.
There's the first chance. Milton Rodriguez probably should bury that. Free header inside the 6-yard box. The give and go from Nick Carl. Fife coming in. That is a clear-cut penalty. You will not see a more clear-cut penalty than that. And I think they've already had one in this game. But that is no discussion.
Yep, as Terry Venables used to call him, that's a stone bonker. Don't know what it means, but you get the sense of it.
I get the sense. I get the sense of it. Clearly came from behind Ian Fife as Nicky Carl was just about to pull the trigger. Milton Rodriguez, just before he was substituted with a free header inside the 6-yard box, really should have buried it. Gary Van Egmond signalling from the bench. He knows that they've got the advantage on the scoreboard as well as the numerical advantage. Knows Sydney only need one.
And here's Corica trying to provide it. It's too deep though for Petrovsky. Middleby will just keep it in play. And he's fouled by Bridge.
And he was the only one in the box. It was Petrovsky. Corica got free on the right-hand side. That area inside right channel where he's so dangerous. Sydney have to throw bodies into the box. I know they're down a man, but they have to score now.
Well, it's their fans making the noise at the moment. There's a good 1,000 of them or so here. Here's Tallay's free kick. Away by Ocon. Littleby tries to find Tallay again. Petrovski hooks it into the danger zone, too far for Topper Stanley, and this is the danger for Sydney. When they commit men forwards, they can leave themselves very exposed at the back. Topper Stanley is herring back, so too Rudin. Jets perhaps were a little too slow with their counter there.
They maybe needed to go a touch quicker, but when they do break with purpose. They break with 5 players.
Carl just lazily plays it into the path of Joel Griffiths.
It'll only take just a metre quicker there from Vaughan Coveny to the near post. The ball from Joel Griffiths, what a match he's having. Involved in all the crucial incidents in this game. When they attack Newcastle, they attack with 5. Even 6. Here's Ocon breaking into the midfield. That's what he did well last week.
He's got the space to do so now. Still Ocon threads it through for Bridge. It's a comfortable save in the end for Bolton. "13 shots the Jets have had. Sydney just the 1. And that was off target. That's a lovely ball floated over by Mushalik. Bridge, Coveny makes a run towards the penalty spot. Goes towards Griffiths instead. Jets have the throw in front of their noisy contingent of fans, the squadron. There's the Milton Rodriguez headbands. Of course, he's no longer on the pitch. Very much part of this performance, though. Nobody will be more relieved than him that Joel Griffiths broke the deadlock after his miss in the first half.
It was a good finish from Joel Griffiths. Had a lot of time, still had a lot of work to do.
The champions again have a mountain to climb. Are they up to the task?
So far in this game, they haven't looked likely. I have to say it's been a strange performance from them, even before Alex Brosk was sent off. They've looked static, devoid of ideas. They've still got plenty of time. But you feel Newcastle have taken a big step in opening the scoring.
Are they vulnerable defensively, though? Tallay drives on in, took a deflection corner. Put under pressure, the Jets' defence has cracked on many an occasion this season. There's the corner, goes 5 for Mark Rudin, got there first. Goal kick.
And you see his reaction. Of course, he should have done better. It's a good leap. Couldn't get the direction, really trying to guide that towards the far post, but Newcastle had Nicky Carl on the back post anyway.
Well, he can understand his disappointment. He knows that chances are going to be few and far between. Maybe a tactical adjustment to come from Terry Butcher. Maybe he's even thinking about another change.
He might bring Zrilic on towards the end. Of course, if he does that, they will really open themselves up at the back. But it's finals football, they need a goal. Otherwise, they're out anyway.
Tallay robbed in possession by a determined Tim Brown. He was just poised to pull the trigger. from the return pass from his countryman, Vaughan Coveny. Very, very tense out there as we move into the final 20 minutes. Well, no movements. Well, there is now, as soon as I say that. Jonas Salih. But as the picture moves away, I think Salih was mistakenly called over. Maybe he's thinking about bringing both of them on, him and Strilic. Time, another glorious pass. This time from Thompson, finding Bridge. Brown makes a little run, in behind Milligan. Too much on the cross. Thompson drives for the line, good ball in, that's 2-0, that could be all over. Vaughan Coveny for the Jets. And are the Newcastle Jets on their way to the preliminary final?
Wonderful play from Matty Thompson, the left fullback, who've come forward. When they attack with numbers and purpose. Tim Brown got in behind, overhead his cross. First to react was Matt Thompson. Zakovic showed him the line, he took it, got in behind, drove inside, crossed the face of the goal. Vaughan Coveny gets in front of Topper Stanley, strikes it into an empty net.
Well, everybody's celebrating on the Jets bench, apart from the coach. And Phil Constantine, the owner and benefactor, well, he's celebrating too, and why not? And of course, remember, it still only means that one goal for Sydney FC. They would take the tie into extra time. Coveny is the hero of the moment.
Well, there's been no evidence of Sydney scoring, to be honest. Newcastle are well on top. Now, if they're patient and keep attacking, they might even get a third.
This is Robbie Middleby. Sydney have had plenty of perspiration, but it's inspiration they need. To that end, Jonas Salih and David Strilic are going to be thrown into the fray.
Not bad coaching, is it? Substitute comes on, Vaughan Coveny. It's a very, very important goal. When they attack, I said they attack with 5 or 6. There's always 3 at the back that stay, and one of the holding midfielders. There's always a block of 4. Sometimes 5 when the other fullback stays. In that attack, which led to the Coveny goal, Matt Thompson went forward. He had the other back 3, Durante, the right fullback, Ocon and Jade North, who stayed, and Mushalik as well. Tim Brown got forward, as did Matt Thompson, and they were crucial, both of those players, in setting up that goal for Vaughan Coveny.
Throwing goes the Jets' way, and that will be the signal for Terry Butcher to make his double change. It's the last throw of the dice, really, for Terry Butcher, maybe of his coaching career at Sydney FC. It's the skipper who's coming off, doesn't look hugely happy about it. Talley is the other man to be replaced.
Mark Rudin not happy to be leading the battle. Until that written all over the face. I find that a strange substitution, to be honest.
Well, there's a few words being exchanged too between Terry Butcher and Mark Rudin. I think Rudin was shaping to go straight down the tunnel and get changed.
He's absolutely filthy. I can understand why, Craig. That's your captain. You don't take off your leader. Not in this situation. You need a goal to bring it back to level pegging, take it into extra time. I think it sends out the right message to the other players.
Here's Griffiths. Jonas Sally's first touch as a Sydney FC player.
Good touch as well.
His transfer, if you like, has caused much controversy this week. Of course, he was out of contract at New Zealand. That's out of play of Zakovic. Very combative midfielder, very muscular, plays that defensive holding role. Interesting to see whether he's still around in a sky blue shirt next season.
He does play that central midfield role, but he's slotted into the back three, which they're playing at the moment. Five now central, Sally on the right-hand side, Topper Stanley on the left-hand side. You'd have to say with the goal Joel Griffiths scored, that hasn't worked.
2-0 on the night to the Jets, 3-2 on aggregate. As Mark Bridge tries a cheeky chip. Just a reminder, a goal for Sydney FC here would take the tie into extra time. Hasn't looked very likely, in all honesty. Trofsky's first touch a bit too heavy. Coveny. Foul by Topper Stanley.
It's been too one-offed for Sydney. Ball goes to a player. Other players seem to look and say, well, off you go. Go on, my son, go and do something. There's been no support to the player with the ball.
Griffiths. Thompson. Tim Brown. Again. Jets just letting the ball do the work. Trying to create the spaces. Is the championship about to slip away from Sydney FC? Another goal, and you'd think it would be curtains. Bolton, unbeaten twice tonight, can't really be blamed for either goal. In truth, it's well, a very disjointed performance by Sydney FC, been a very disjointed season, lots of problems on and off the park.
That's right, and disjointed performance, a poor performance here tonight so far. Of course, they're still in this match, but I guess a couple of times now, but that's maybe taking away from Newcastle, the performance they've put on here tonight. Smashed Melbourne in the last round here, so maybe this is no surprise. I think it's a team that both Melbourne and Adelaide be very wary of. When they're in this sort of mood, I don't think there's anyone that passes the ball better.
Carl. Oh, beautiful back heel. Sold two Sydney FC players a dummy. Bridge drives it in. And Bolton fields.
Yeah, this time he goes to the near post. That's the one, when there's bodies already in there, that's the one you dink to the back post. Just stand it up. One for Thompson was different. It broke quickly. There wasn't many bodies in there. That time that everyone was sucked to the near post. Just sit it up to the back post.
Now Sasha Petrovsky, optimistic. Now confirmation of the crowd tonight. It's another new record for the Jets, 24,338. And the vast majority are having a great night. Not so those clad in blue.
Now, those clad in blue have had a difficult season. If they do go out here, they're really going to have a long, hard look at themselves, Sydney FC. I'm not talking about the players.
work to do. Of course, they've got an Asian Champions League campaign coming up as well.
That's right. And we talk about Newcastle here and look at this crowd here tonight. A record for them. The last month has been unbelievable crowds here against Sydney in the game. Sydney won 2-0 here in the coast, in Melbourne, and now tonight. And we'll talk about reconnecting with the community. This team has done it, and I think that's what Sydney need to do with their community. I think to some extent they've lost it this season.
Well, the crowds have certainly been down fairly significantly from last campaign. Some say that's the style of football Terry Butcher has played. There are other factors as well. This is Joel Griffiths trying to really seal it for the Jets.
Clint Bolton. Look at that, look how sharp they are, Newcastle. And Coveny straight onto it, Bolton spilled it. Good reaction from Clint Bolton. He smothered it, but Coveny was right in there. That's been the difference. First to the ball tonight, Newcastle. So we're riding off Sydney FC. They're still in this game. Still 8.5 minutes to go, plus injury time. They only needed a goal. They need a goal. Send it into extra time. They're at the champions. Well, they need to find some champion form at the end of this match.
Well, they've showed champion spirit for much of the season. Just wonder whether all those problems, of course, including Alex Prost's red card tonight, has finally caught up with them. This is Griffiths. This could seal it for the Jets. Helped on by Tim Brown. Still Brown. And Fife, to his credit, did well.
Wrong option, Tim Brown. To be fair to him, I don't think you see it. He's had a good game, Tim Brown. Always been willing to get forward. Mishalik's the one who sits. But if he just would have helped that one on, Coveny was completely unmarked in around about the same position where Joel Griffiths was when he scored the opening goal. That's where you talk about players with the ability, as the ball's on the way to you, to have a little look behind you, to know what's going on. There he didn't do it. Didn't realise that Coveny was completely unmarked.
I'll tell you what, to use the boxing analogy, Sydney FC are like a punch-drunk fighter at the moment. They're on the ropes. You just wonder whether they just have one big right hook to give.
There's the frustration. Ian Fife getting turned by Vaughan Coveny. It's a yellow card for the shirt pull. It was a long way to go for Coveny. Might have been better to let him go. You see the look on the face there. Have they got it in them to rally once more? It doesn't look like it. There doesn't appear to be any signs. It's a tied challenge.
Well, they've had to cover a lot of ground in the second half, especially against a passing team like the Jets. Joel Griffiths waits on the right-hand side as Jonas Sally was sold a lovely dummy there by Thompson.
Yeah, he was, and the 1-2 was on. He laid it into Bridge. Thompson continued his run. Little 1-2, he would have been in behind one-on-one with Bolton. Newcastle need to bury Sydney if they can.
Offside flag against Mark Bridge. Well, Matthew Breeze has had an interesting night as well, hasn't he? 5 yellow cards he's given to Sydney FC, 1 to the Jets, and of course the red is shown to Alex Prost. Is time running out for Terry Butcher? I suppose that will be the question posed by media this week. Lots of rumours. Frank Farina was mentioned. That one was put to bed today as he signed a new deal with Queensland. John Cosmin has been mentioned. 1 or 2 other names as well.
Set piece, corner. Said that when the second half started. Good opportunity. Can Sydney find something? Newcastle, everyone back on board.
Shade over 5 minutes to go. Have Sydney got anything left in the tank? Top of Stanley and Fife up from the back. Corica's corner, it's too close to the keeper. Good firm fist by Coveny. Zadkiewicz launches it long. Well watched by the keeper. Awkward bounce for Zadkiewicz, headed on by Coveny. Sydney in trouble again. Fife just got there in time. There's still some nerves out there. You can maybe sense one or two Newcastle Jets knowing that the finish line is within sight.
Great work from Charlotte there. Outstanding performance again from the holding midfielder. A lot of his work goes unnoticed, not by his coach and his teammates.
Less than 4 minutes to go. Champions crowd starting to slip away, perhaps. That's a lovely ball from North. Coveny's onto it, but Bolton, again, the coolest man inside the stadium. Nobody there for Sydney FC.
Well, there's no movement. There's too much distance between the back line and the front line.
Gary Van Egmond, he just got sight of there, just having a word with young Troy Harefield, who's probably going to be thrown on, as much as to run the clock down as anything else, I'm sure. Sydney have the free kick. There's a muscular young midfielder from Tamworth, just down the road. As Corica floats one in, and Coveny again shows a very safe pair of hands. And now the Jets can break. Mark Bridge, support arriving from Coveny, and through the middle from Griffiths. This could tie it up for the Jets. It's Nicky Carl. Nicky Carl should have scored.
Oh, that's not a good finish. Straight at Clint Bolton. What a chance to bury Sydney. Beautifully played by Mark Bridge, held on to it nicely. Beautiful weighted pass. Nicky Carl, all on his own to keep it a beat. We've seen him put him away in that position this season.
Well, if it is to be the Jets, who can begrudge them? They've been superb tonight. They've been superb in the second half of the season after that awful start.
Don't forget they were last. They were behind the New Zealand Knights.
Is that possible?
Not if you listen to me most of the time. Sydney's still looking for one goal. Another set piece. Well, that's their best opportunity. They haven't created anything from open play today. Rather this evening. Mark Bridge going off. What a great game from him. What a great moment for Troy Harefield.
Yeah, it's his Hyundai A-League debut. Well played, Mark Bridge. Had a great season too. Troy Harefield gets a taste of the big time. Sure, it won't be his last. Here's Corica with the free kick. Ocon stood firm. It's really a half-hearted effort from the set piece from Sydney FC, and again the Jets will try and counter through Nicky Carl. Free kick against Milligan, who throws the ball away in frustration. Automatic yellow card. Well, it won't matter much, but Milligan, if Sydney were to nick a goal, would miss the preliminary final too, because he was booked in the first leg as well.
And I think you'll find the first game of next season will be suspended.
Pre-season cup.
Pre-season cup. Well, that hurts a lot less than the normal season games, of course, but frustration, Nicky Carl breaking, and then can feel it slipping away. To be honest, there's been little sign, as we see 3 minutes of injury time for Sydney to try and grab a goal, but there's been little indication that they've been capable of doing it tonight, Sydney.
Yep, the Jets fans are ready to party. Maybe Sydney ready to start the post-mortem. Maybe it's still not quite up for the champions. David Strilic. Well, that just about sums up Sydney's night. Wonderful nights in the Hunter. Well, if you're a Jets fan, anyway.
Well, I guess Sydney will look back to the first leg. They had them on the ropes, Newcastle, 2-0 up. Dominating, had the chances to go 3 up. They did. Newcastle came back into it, got the away goal. This is where we sit tonight. Newcastle looking for more likely to go through now, as Sydney can find a miracle.
Now Milligan's been dispossessed by Griffiths. Coveny tries to go through the middle. Good tackle by Jonas Saleh. Gary Van Egmont's going to make another change if he needs to in a moment. Intercepted by Durante. Middleby tracks back. Here's Griffiths. Across the face of goal. Good save by Clint Bolton.
Well, didn't they have 3 there? Coveny can't believe it. It's a great save. A brave save from Clint Bolton. Good play from Joel Griffiths. Whips it in there. Gets in front of Topo Stanley like he did for his first goal to make it 2-0. This time Clint Bolton was very well positioned.
This may well be Sydney's last opportunity. They've got a free kick on halfway. They will pump it long through Milligan, but too quick. There was only Petrovsky up there against 2 defenders. What is the point of that? Final minute. Newcastle want to make a change. Ball won't go out of play quick enough for Gary Van Egmont, so they can waste a few more crucial seconds. Milligan hasn't spotted Zatkovic free on the right. Into the penalty area. Newcastle stand firm. They know they're nearly there. Topo Stanley is forced to go back to his goalkeeper. He's left it too short. Bolton helps him out. Jonas Saleh dispossessed by Griffiths. Now it's 4 against 2. Oh, and that's wasteful from Joel Griffiths.
Well, that's the wrong option from Joel Griffiths. 4 against 2, Newcastle. Only seconds to go. It might not matter.
It doesn't matter. The full-time whistle has blown. Sydney's reign as champions is over. The Jets march on to a preliminary final meeting with either Adelaide or Melbourne. And what a story for the Jets. After being rock bottom after 7 rounds, Newcastle are now just 1 step away from the grand final. And they celebrate. They've earned it. They've been superb tonight. They've been sensational for the second half of the season. What a fantastic job Gary Van Egmont has done. And it's only disappointments and thoughts of what might have been for the deposed champion Sydney FC. Final score in the semi-final second leg of the minor semi. Newcastle Jets 2, Sydney FC 0. The Jets win 3-2 on aggregate. And is that the end, I wonder, of Terry Butcher's reign as Sydney coach? Let's go down on the pitch and join one of the happy Jets players. Joel Griffiths is now talking with Andy Harper.
Very, very difficult to hear you down here, Simon Hill, but I've got Joel Griffiths. Congratulations, Joel. What a great night.
Oh, unbelievable, mate. Just makes it all worthwhile coming back overseas in front of this crowd. You can't ask for much better than that.
Fantastic crowd, fantastic night. A lot of spite in that first half. Gave you the edge and you took advantage.
Definitely, you know, we knew we could score goals. Oh, sorry, I'm out of breath.
Can you go all the way from here?
Well, it'll be a dream come true, wouldn't it? From where we were to be where we are now. You know, most people didn't pick us at the beginning of the season, especially when we lost 7 on the trot. But, you know, it just shows, you know, a good team, anything can happen, and, you know, you're in charge of your own destiny, so.
Well, congratulations. Thanks for your time. Go and enjoy this crowd.
Thanks, mate.
Steve Corica, great game from you tonight. You didn't get the run of the green though.
No, it looked like everything was falling their way. To be fair, they played well tonight, I think. They probably deserved to win. We weren't the best in the final third, where we should have been a bit more punishing, I think.
You've had a very long, tough season. The rubber band broke tonight. Is that the way you see it?
It's going to be difficult when you go down to 10 men. We knew if we could just keep it, 0-0, we might have a chance. But, once they scored their first goal, it's going to be hard work after that.
Did you feel though right up to the end, you only needed that one to draw the tie? You felt you were right in it till the end?
Well, they were still going for the third goal, so, if we could have snuck one, we might have had a chance. But, it wasn't to be this year. That's just the way it goes.
Well played to yourself. Unfortunate. Enjoy the off-season.
Thanks, mate. Cheers, Andy.
Yes, a very disappointed Steve Corica. Let's have a look at the goals, though, that took the Jets through to the preliminary final against either Adelaide or Melbourne. Well, the goal that really put the icing on the cake was Joel Griffiths after 57 minutes. Mistake by Ruben Zatkovic. And Griffiths pounds for his 6th goal in 10 games. It was an awkward bounce for the Sydney FC player. Bridge helped it on. And what a neat finish after the steadying first touch by Joel Griffiths. Well, that set the Jets fans into party mode. They were in full flight after this one, though. 72 minutes on the watch. Vaughan Coveny waiting to pounce in the middle. Again, perhaps you could lay the blame at the foot of Ruben Zatkovic, who got turned there by Matty Thompson. Good ball in, and Coveny finished it off. But it was the Jets' night. They deserved the victory, despite the fact that Sydney played for more than 45 minutes with just the 10 men. Here are the stats from Energy Australia Stadium. The Jets had the majority of possession and the time in opposition half. They had more corners, 2 offsides in the game, over 30 fouls. Well, it was a local derby. And of course, the red card, Sydney FC will say, perhaps changed the game so far as they were concerned. But Sydney really were disappointing. The Jets thoroughly deserving of their place in the preliminary final. Record crowd here to see it as well, 24,338, and I'm sure there will be plenty that'll travel to either High Marsh or Telstra Dome, including owner Con Constantine and George Leo, his chief executive that you just caught sight of there on the right-hand side. They'll enjoy tonight. Milton Rodriguez, who had to go off with an injury, but what a contribution he's made to Newcastle's season. Fully vindicated the faith shown in him by the former coach Nick Theodorakopoulos, Gary Van Egmond, and of course, most importantly, Con Constantine, who pays his wages. Now, coming up later on in the weekend, the second leg of the major semi-final. Melbourne victory against Adelaide United. They start all square at 0-0. And our coverage on Fox Sports 3 starts at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time from the Telstra Dome in Melbourne. Well, the party is just about to begin for Newcastle in front of the record crowds. Might be 1 or 2 drinks tonight had by the Newcastle players, and then it's back to business for the preliminary final. They're through, the Jets, and deservedly so. Hope you enjoyed the game. From me, Simon Hill, from Robbie Slater, and from all the Fox Sports team, it's goodbye for now.
This program brought to you by the all-new Hyundai Santa Fe all-wheel drive. The only place to go, Autobahn, the automotive superstore. Mitre 10, all the help you need. Valentine's finest Scotch whisky. The new Full HD Bravia LCD TV from Sony. And Hungry Jack's, the burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.